Hello, Facebook world. I hope you are doing good today. And if you're seeing this, you're probably playing catch up with Facebook Live because it usually takes a couple minutes for everybody to be able to jump on. And to help people jump on, I'm going to do a little bit of sharing while we're sitting here waiting for everybody. Let me just do that. I hope your day is going fantabulous. Mine is going good, and I feel a little shaky about that. I know that sounds weird, but I had just the most insane 5 days or so. This eclipse energy really has been hitting my family with a lot of just very, very heavy stuff. Don't mind me, I have a cough drop in my mouth. And so everything has just been so shaken and so stirred up. And even yesterday, when things were supposed to be feeling a little bit better, and they kind of had for a lot of other people, just not everyone yet, because Tuesday was still part of eclipse energy because parts of the world were still experiencing eclipse stuff. Not everybody was out of the storm quite yet. But now, in case you don't know me, and in case, sorry, I'm turning my phone off here. I don't know what it thinks it's doing. Okay. Anyway, in case you don't know me, I'm Lindsay Baldessano, and I'm from Super Secret Powers Coaching. And I am an intuitive reader, and I'm a healer. And I really love to help intuitive women get in touch with their gifts and their soul mission and their big dreams. Because once you hit that sweet, sweet spot of center, and some people call this, especially from the Abraham teachings, the vortex. And once you hit that vortex, you're able to up-level your life and your energy in such a way we're carrying those big dreams and that big soul mission. It's going to feel like the most natural thing on earth. And you're going to release a lot of struggle and release a lot of limiting beliefs about what you can do and what you can easily do. And you need to have that up level in order to take those big dreams on. So hello, viewer. You can just pop on and let me know how your day is going. And today we're talking all about how to release negativity. Now, I can go on and on and on about this. 3 tips doesn't nearly begin to cover a lot of the mindset work that does need to happen in order for you to feel like your feelings are your super secret powers. But they are, especially if you're an empath, especially if you're an intuitive, especially if you've got that whole big soul connection as your main gift. Because that is our main gift. It's not the fact that we can tap into emotions. It's not the fact that we can see flashes. It's not the fact that we can get downloads. The main gift, the real gift, is how strong we are connected to soul. Because it serves us, and once it serves us and we know how to work with that in our lives, we can touch so many other lives. And sometimes it's just going to be through simple conversation. It doesn't have to be through Reiki or your chosen modality. That gift is what needs to come forward. And that's why we need to start releasing negativity. Because it clouds our connection to soul. And whether it's internal negativity or external negativity, we tend to hold on to that because it feels so very important. But all that negativity, all that whole cycle of thought that you're having, if you're having it now, today I'm getting through it. And that's where we all need to be, a place where we can feel like we can get through it. But It feels so very important because it's our alarm system going off. It doesn't mean our intuition. It just means like the smoke alarm is going off in soul and in our body mind. And we can't live with the smoke alarm always going off. It's only meant to say, hey, we need to come back to soul. That's the alarm. We need to come back to soul. We need to come back to center. We need to maybe not fix what's going on, because part of why we're holding on to that alarm system, because it feels so very important, that negativity, that whole thought cycle, is because somehow we think we can think our way through it. We can fix it. If we picked it up from somebody else, maybe we believe that holding that energy that we picked up from somebody else can actually help heal them in some way. Even though we can't heal somebody else's energy when it comes into us, somebody else's pattern, we can't do that. It's not ours. We can't fix it for them. It's just a reflection of what they're feeling anyway. It's a trigger within ourselves. We recognize where they are. It's not something that we can fix for them by processing it in us. Only by transforming it does any healing happen. So we really need to either release it or let it go. But we still, even if we choose to transform it, it doesn't mean that those feelings in anybody else are going to go away. Only the feelings within us. And yes, modeling it can help, and that's one of the best ways to help. But if you're not in session with somebody, or you're not like upfront, like, here's what I think, and here's how maybe we can think through this with them. If you're not in that kind of direct one-on-one kind of helping them situation, they might not even notice what you did because they're still caught up in their own problem. So we're holding on to this negativity really for all the wrong reasons. And if we hold on to it, if we're really holding on to it, because it does feel important, it's only going to make things worse for us, though, because it's going to set off this whole chain of events and chain of thoughts in our minds and through our lives, because our thoughts affect our choices, that wouldn't have happened otherwise. So you feel triggered by something somebody said. You feel upset because somebody wasn't as sensitive to your situation as maybe you needed them to be. Maybe they just said, like, well, you should do this. And you're like, that was like the worst thing you can say to me right now. And maybe that's what happened. Maybe that's what set off this whole negativity thing. But once it gets set off, we start thinking, was it us? Was it them? Was it this? Was it that? What does it mean about me? What is it? Oh, like that whole chain wouldn't have happened if we were able to recognize the negativity trigger to begin with. And it does take a little bit of time and a little bit of practice to really start picking up on what's going to set those things off in us. And some, you may even be so deeply triggered about the world and what's happening and what's going on in your life right now that you don't even realize that you aren't in center. Because ego thinks and would like us to believe that just because we think we can think our way through things, we can think the next logical step, we can plan for things, we can analyze things, that we're going to be able to solve it and make ourselves feel healed and safe again. But that's not what happens, because we need to be integrated beings, not just body and mind beings, but also beings who are working with their soul level energies. We need that integration, because soul knows a whole lot more of what's going on than ego does, because ego is really just the alarm system. It assesses potential threat, not necessarily actual threat, real threat, something that is actually happening right now. It's just an alarm system for potential and how we can meet those potentials. Ego will always be coming from a place of, are we enough to handle this? Soul is what knows and can inform you how. You can be prepared to handle just about anything that does come up, because you are an amazing being of light. And that kind of leads into tip number 1 for releasing negativity. So tip number 1 is, if you are feeling so triggered by something somebody said, or you're not feeling enough today, you either go back in your journals or maybe pump up your most favorite tunes, something that's going to remind you of who you are. Because a lot of times this negativity doesn't come exactly from us. Maybe it comes from something way in our past. Maybe our parents never really encouraged our belief in ourselves. Maybe they outright put us down. Maybe they didn't even realize how emotionally insensitive they were to us. That's all past stuff, but it's still all stuff from other places. It's not something actually about us. That's still a reflection of somebody else's beliefs and actions, and not what we really think and feel and believe. So we want to increase our own energy by going through the journals, by pumping up the tunes, by going for a walk. We want to increase our own energy, our own sense of self. Because once we do that, we know whether we can agree with what somebody said or not. It becomes a lot clearer that maybe that person was just in a bad place when he said that, or that sounds a lot like blame, and I know blame never solves anything. So you want to be able to pump up your own beliefs, your own self, so you can distinguish between you versus them. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2 for releasing negativity is, ask yourself, did that person actually mean to make you feel bad? So now there's almost like a flow chart to this. So if yes, if they didn't mean to make you feel bad, then just know it's only their opinion, and it's only a reflection of their beliefs in their world at that current time. Meaning it doesn't have to mean anything to you, because it's not actually saying anything about you, your true self. It's just what somebody else thought, somebody else's opinion out there. It doesn't have to mean anything unless we make it mean something. You don't have to agree with their logic. You can say, I can see why you might think that. I can see your logic pattern. But what about this? I think this part's equally important. And you are just as valid to say that as they are in saying what they said. So no, that was all if somebody actually was trying to bring you down. If they weren't actually trying to bring you down, then you need to really kind of ask yourself, like, where are you punishing yourself? Where are you in patterns of, I need to feel guilty because I didn't meet this person's expectations? Where are you people pleasing still in a way? Because that feeling is probably coming from you. And there's a quick story I have behind this. Like I was saying, my family is going through some really heavy times. And we were at my parents' house last night, and my parents were trying to help problem solve and, do the whole thing that people try and do. And they're naming all these things that, of course, it's not like we didn't think of them. We just, really didn't see how we could work them into viable solutions. But I was getting triggery, because it was like, I'd love for that to be an option, to be that simple that I can solve my problems like that. And I started feeling guilt that I couldn't make that work, guilt that I couldn't meet that expectation, that it sounded like I was making more problems for myself, to my parents, of course, who only want the best for me. They only want positive resolution for me. They don't want to see me suffer. And while I knew that, I couldn't help but also feel judged. But that's my pattern. That's not their pattern. They weren't actually judging. They were just naming possible viable solutions. So where are you self-punishing yourself? If you know if you know somebody else was in good intention and maybe just didn't know how to say things the right way to you. All right, so that third and last tip for today is try and feel into where you might be in blame. Because blame is one of the biggest things that I know holds me back in my life. And it might not be blame like, oh, they're such a bad person, or, why did you say that? It might not even be that direct level of blame. It could be something more subtle, like resentment. Why do they always do this? Why is he never doing that? Why do they always make me feel like I'm the wrong one for not being able to just, go out and get a job and live the life that they want me to live? Like where is that subtle resentment? Where is the subtle jealousy even? Why do they always have that? Why can't I have that? That's actually a blame pattern. And it's keeping you in resistance to the things you need to do, because you're always trying to compare yourself either to what somebody did to get what they want. There's that jealousy thing. Or you're in comparison to what people want to see from you. It's a people-pleasing kind of blame. Why can't I be like that? Why can't I ever live up to their expectations? It's a level of comparison, but it's also a blame pattern. And if you can see that it's a blame pattern, and you can drop a lot of the guilt and a lot of self-punishment you have around that, because we aren't here to live up to other people's expectations. We're here to live in our own light and to model our own light and the love and to anchor down those energies. And that's very, very specific. That's not something that can really fall into the level of archetype. Archetype is just like a dress pattern. We still have to choose the material. We still have to do the sewing. We still have to add all these very custom touches to any kind of archetypal patterns or dreams we might be trying to live out, or we might even want to drop. But it's still very, very custom. And we can't just say like, well, I'm going to be the most perfect nurse in the world, because you don't know what that means. Nobody knows what that means. The most perfect nurse for you is going to be very different from what other people expect of a perfect nurse. It could be generational even in the difference. So we have to step away from not being able to meet those things and be okay with the fact that we know we are doing what we can in this present moment to make those things happen. Because it's the only time we have. We don't have the future. We no longer have the past. All we can do is act from now. So if you want your tomorrow to look different, choose something different today. And don't put the punishment and don't put the guilt behind it. And just recognize other people's opinions as simply that. And I know as an empath, I tend to feel like I want to help people move through their things. And I feel like a failure in a way if I can't, but that's not my job. My job is to be the light. So I have to work on myself. I have to model what I want to see in the world. I can't make other people choose healing, and neither can you. And once this really sinks in, that the whole point of being some kind of light worker is to simply be the light, a lot of the negativity does fall away. And this is what I teach. And this is what I run my programs on, really helping people integrate to that level of being able to be the light. Now, if you still wanted to get my Eclipse Guide, Thriving in High Vibe Times, it's a workshop, so it's a video and a workbook. We are entering into an integration month now, so all of the information in this workshop is still very viable, and you can glean a lot of realizations and understanding from it. This eclipse was so very intense that I am thinking about offering the workshop for a bit longer, because I only have it on sale until tomorrow right now. because I don't think a lot of what did come through and what has been trying to come through is necessarily going to come to consciousness until like maybe mid to end of September when things calm down and when we're able to process more. And that's exactly what the workshop is going to help you to do. So you can go grab that. I'm going to drop the link for that in just a second here. It's only $15 and you can have it's instantly delivered to your inbox, or at least the link will be. But if you do find that you need a lot more help releasing negativity and coming to center and really trying to process all the change that's been happening during this eclipse season, you want to upgrade your workshop purchase with a I Need a Sign reading. And that is a private 45-minute reading. I will draw cards and I will do Reiki, and I will really help you embrace the shifts that you need to right now so that you can come to that sweet center vortex spot and you aren't hung up and you aren't stopping and starting and you aren't in doubt and you aren't in fear, so you can have your peace of mind back. All right. That is all I have for today. I don't see anybody else on, so I can't even ask questions. But if you want to see more of me, and if you want more tips, and if you want to hear more about what I'm doing, you want to join the Thriving in Thriving in Free Empaths and Intuitives group on Facebook. I will be on there on Friday, getting to know my peeps in my group. And past that, I will be back on Monday with the weekly reading, and it will be a new reading for the month. So we've got lots of stuff coming up here at Super Secret Powers. And I hope you stay tuned, follow me, like me to make sure that you are getting the notifications for the live streams and everything we've got going on. It's time to get your going on today. All right. Love you, and I will see you Friday or Monday.